Hey YouTube, it's me, Kenneth Ryan, and we're back with another episode of Talking About Stuff. This week's topic was suggested by my friend and co-star Bethany Ketchum, and she suggested that we talk about what it's like to film something. Now, this sort of ties into when I talked about my writing process, because I believe at the end of the video I said, when you're finished writing, if you've written a script like I've written, the next step is to move on to filming it. So we're kind of continuing that train, I guess. We're going to see where this goes, because I don't know how much there is to talk about filming. The absolute first step you're going to want is to make sure you have proper filming equipment, be that sound recording equipment, be that a camera, be that a smartphone. Back when I was a sophomore in high school, a few friends and I filmed a school project using a iPod. So, as long as you've got a means to record, you can do that. It can even be a laptop webcam, but I don't know how HD those are. I'm a big stickler for HD, that's why I bought an HD camera to do all my filming. So enjoy my pretty face, I guess. So once you've got your recording equipment, your next step is to understand, your locations. Because unless you have a deal with a studio or something, you're probably not going to be able to make sets. Everything you're going to do is going to be on location, which means working around the people who are going to be at that location, whether it's because of their job or because they live there because you're using a friend's house, which is what I've used for everything I've filmed so far is a friend's house or my house. And so you have to understand there's going to be other people around and you can't really be in their way, and they kind of have to understand they shouldn't be in your way, and it's a lot of making sure that everybody's not in everybody's way. Another thing you're going to need to know is, what are you filming? Okay? If you're filming something that's scripted, you're going to need to do a lot more preparing than if you're filming something like I'm filming right now. If you're filming an unscripted one-on-one kind of video, you basically set up your camera, you set up your sound recording equipment, and you just talk and you ramble and you cut a lot of it out because none of it makes sense, and you see that when you edit it. So this is pretty easy to film. I say that, but it's what I'm doing right now. It's my camera, recording equipment, and me talking with no script. But if you have scripted content, things are going to get a little bit harder. The first step, and I learned this through Roommate Season 1, is to make sure everybody has their lines before you start filming, and physical copies of the script are going to save your life, okay? Just trust me on that. You're going to want everybody to know what they're doing. Second step is going to be, you need to know where you're going to film so you can have everyone at the same place at the same time, so you're all ready to go, and you need everyone to be ready to go. Be it your friend's basement, or your bedroom, or a park. You have to make sure everybody knows where you're going, when you're going to be there, what time frames you estimate you're going to be filming for, because this is a time commitment for everyone involved. And the people you're working with, there is no guarantee that, acting is something they want to do professionally, so they might be sacrificing their free time, which they would rather spend watching friggin' Sherlock. I don't know. But they're giving you their time to help you out with your projects, so make sure everyone knows where they need to be. Another thing is, when you are filming for extended periods of time, I'm guessing anywhere longer than 4 hours, you're going to want food. In fact, you probably want food regardless of how long you're filming, because people are going to get hungry and thirsty. Especially if you're talking a lot, you're going to get real thirsty. So make sure you have snacks and water available. And if you are the one who is producing the show, which, you kind of know if you're the producer, if you've kind of been providing everything for the show, you're the one who's kind of in charge of making sure that everyone has that available to them, because hungry people are not happy people traditionally. So make sure they have food to eat. Again, filming is going to be a big time commitment, because even if you're filming something short, you're going to do a lot of multiple takes, because sometimes you're just not going to be happy with what you get. And then there's going to be times where you have to accept that a bad take is the best take you're going to get because you have time restrictions. So, let's use Angel as an example. We had about 5 hours to film that 15-minute video, which was made up of a lot of different clips. I think by the end we had 52 clips that made up that video. And that's a lot of things to film in 5 hours. So sometimes you're going to just have to accept, this was not the best shot that we could have gotten, but we don't have time to keep reshooting this. We need to accept it, move on. Perfectionism in filming is going to kill you. You can get one perfect shot maybe per shoot, because there's always going to be tiny little mistakes, something in the background isn't going to be supposed to be there, but it's there, you just deal with it, okay? Because if everything has to be perfect, your 8-hour shoot is going to be a hell of a lot less productive than it could have been. Like, a good example of that is if I were a super perfectionist, Roommates Season 1, Episodes 7 through 12 would not have all been able to be filmed in one day. I can get more on that if you want, but that was about an 8.5-hour day, and we got all that filmed, but that was because we were willing to accept bad shots, and the series was designed to be bad to begin with. But again, I'll talk about that later if there's interest to hear me talk about that. When filming, make sure you're prepared for a lot of stuff. For example, make sure you have a pretty big memory card in your camera because you're going to be recording a lot of different clips, and those are going to add up as data in the memory as it goes on. Also, make sure your camera is fully charged before you start. My camera averages about 5 hours of battery life, of constant use. And then the battery starts dying, so you'll maybe take like a lunch break and charge it through the lunch break, pop it back in, keep working. Make sure you bring your charger. It's going to save your life. Believe me, if you're using external audio equipment, make sure that everybody syncs the audio with the video before, you get to the editing stage and realize nobody did that, because it's going to save you a lot of trouble. Syncing audio is a lifesaver. And sometimes it's not perfect, but you deal with it because you deal with it, and there's nothing else you can do about that. Another thing about filming is to make sure everybody has everything they need on set. It's going to be a pain in the ass if you're trying to film shows that take place over multiple days in the story of the show, and you have to keep stopping for X number of minutes because somebody has to go home to get a new outfit. Make sure everyone brings all the costumes they need. Make sure everyone brings any makeup that they personally want, that they need. Make sure you have your makeup there as the producer to give people something to choose from should they choose to use that instead of their own. You're going to need to be very, very, very prepared, because otherwise, things are not going to turn out so well. Just saying. Kind of sucks, but it's also kind of the case. I guess, to be cheesy, a good last thing to do when you film is to have fun, Why would you want to be filming something if you're not enjoying yourself? There's going to be points where you're filming a project and get frustrated because there's a lot of mistakes and it's driving you up the wall and driving other people up the wall, and that's not fun, but, nothing has to be fun 110% of the time. But as long as you enjoy what you're doing and you enjoy being on camera, you enjoy being behind the camera, or you enjoy being on a set like that, filming is gonna just make sure you're having fun when you film. Basically, that's the gist of it. I'm long-winded though, so I'm gonna just keep rambling. If you've got a topic for me, leave it down below, and I will look at it and probably make a video on it. And if you enjoy, please be sure to give the video a like. Those are always helpful. And let me know what you think. Why not? And I hope all of you have a wonderful week. I will see you next week with a new episode of Talking About Stuff. I'm rooting for you kids. Bye!